Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rock and Swat coming at you with the weekly comic book roundup. Um, got a few books, including a holdover from last week, which sadly popped in late. Anyways, we're going to start things off with Uncanny X-Men #1. Another Uncanny X-Men #1, actually. Anyways, this particular Uncanny X-Men #1 is written by Ed Brisson, Matthew Rosenberg, and Kelly Thompson, and drawn by Mehmet Asrar, with cover by Lionel Francis Yu, and begins X-Men Disassembled, which will be a 10-part weekly story, which will be running for the next 10 weeks. Well, the next 9 weeks after this, but yeah. Anyways, so, okay, first, this is supposed to present the new status quo after the events of Extermination. The last issue of Extermination comes out in either next week or the week after. So, yeah. Apparently, this is a common thing, and something I'll be doing. Something I'll probably be doing a video about. Separate video about it soon. So we'll just stop that little train of thought there. Anywho. So we open things up with Multiple Man asking where Kitty Pryde is, and then telling Jean that he has to find her. He's then stabbed through the head by X-23, and it turns out that they're in the middle of a massive fight against Multiple Men. Drink that in right quick. But you've got Bishop, X-23, Jean, Storm, Nightcrawler, Jubilee. I'm trying to see. Cannonball. All taking on Multiple Men. And all the Multiple men are asking, where is Kitty Pryde? And apparently, according to Jean, the minds of these Madrox dupes seem fractured somehow. And then we cut back to yeah, we don't get a... Cut back to Xavier School. The X-Men are having breakfast. X-23 uses her claws as forks. So... Bobby thinks it's gross. To be perfectly honest, Brisson kind of, I don't know, I feel like he's writing X-23 more like Honey Badger. Anyway, cut to now above North Carolina. A handful of X-Men are heading towards a lab, which is being attacked by members of the Mutant Liberation Front. As the Blackbird's going in for a landing, Kitty uncontrollably phases through the plane, which totally screws the electronics of the plane. Some Pixie's Pixie hits her head, which makes it a bit harder for her to teleport the students out before the plane crashes into the lab and blows up. Then we have a vignette in Botswana, Africa. Storm is hovering above. It's raining torrentially. Storm is hovering, saying that this is not natural, while Beast, doing some studies, and agrees with her completely. And apparently, Storm has tried to exert control over the storm that's buffeting Botswana with rain like of this to this degree, but has had no luck. Anyway, back in North Carolina, um, the X-Men survive out of the crash. However, they can't find Oya, and as I said, they are soon set upon by a handful of Mutant Liberation Front members: Forearm, Samurai, Strobe, who does not look like she should in the slightest, Wildside, and Dragonus. Some of these members were dead. Dragonus has actually kind of started to lean a little bit towards the side of good as well. So, anyways, that's horror. The X-Men and the Mutant Liberation Front are going head to head and hand to hand against one another. Forearm informs Rockslide that at the lab they're making a cure for mutants. Basically, what it is something that will it would stop the X gene from manifesting in children. During the fight, Jamie Madrox shows up, wakes up Enola, and asks him where Kitty Pryde is, and he says Kitty vanished. Then Madrox is like, it's too late, and runs off. In the middle of the fight, which is not going the way that X-Men would prefer, Nightcrawler, X-23, and Polaris show up. Nightcrawler begins teleporting away the various the students, and Polaris basically throws X-23 at the Mutant Liberation Front members, who survive, but they're not loving it. Anyways, back in Manhattan, Senator Ashton Allen is speaking. And it's the same anti-mutant rhetoric that's been appearing that we've been hearing from members of the government, racist members of the government, and X-Men books since they began. In the audience, you have Bishop, Jubilee, Angel, Psylocke, Iceman, and Northstar. Jubilee, of all people, posits some good questions. For one, when do they sort of let it go already? And why does it always feel like the same boring politician in a suit giving it? Bishop actually agrees with her, though. He's like, "Hey, I agree with you. Let's not push things." And she says, "Right." Anyway, of course, it turns out that Jubilee has smuggled some tomatoes in with her. Is on the verge of throwing said tomatoes. North Star has come down because he's afraid that should the U.S. actually pass such legislation, Canada will follow suit. And then and Senator Allen also explains there is a something that will make it so that children will not manifest the X gene. Then suddenly, Jamie's on the podium, babbling. We cut to the Xavier Institute where Beast is taking care of the injured from the plane crash, and also tells the other students to get out of his sick bay. And they see Madrox on television, and Enola explains that that guy was at the crash. They try to Iceman and Jean try to stop Jamie, but they're not having the best luck. And apparently some dupes have appeared in the back and are kind of going nuts. And of course, the senator's security patrol or contingent shoots some of the Madroxes, but they get bum rushed, and then the senator disappears. And it looks like the X-Men have taken him. Right, so he comes to, bound to a chair, sitting across from Kitty Pryde, who's also bound to a chair. And they're not alone, as Apocalypse is with them. And he is bound to a big metal X. So, something screwy's going on, that's for damn sure. Anyway, we're about halfway done with the issue. We've got a backup story, What Tomorrow Brings, in 3 parts, followed by an epilogue. And this is apparently the days leading up to what happened in the main story. We got part 1. What Tomorrow Brings, part 1, a Bishop story. So Bishop has a little bracelet that warns him of pending catastrophic events in the timeline. And so he's followed it through one and discovers, and he sees the Dark Beast, the Beast from the Age of Apocalypse timeline. And as he's trying to figure out what's going on, you get some people crawling up towards Beast. Then there's an explosion from inside the building. Of course, he goes in and, well, Beast is gone. Well, Dark Beast is gone, and later finds a trashed lab. Is attacked by a robot, which he promptly dispatches. And he's hit with an energy attack, which he of course uses to get through, and he discovers Sugar Man, also from the Age of Apocalypse timeline. Gets knocked out, and when he comes to, Sugar Man is very, very dead. Anyways, we get part 2, which is a Jean Grey story. Jean is waiting on Storm as they're going to meet up for coffee, and an old woman asks if she can join Jean for a moment. They talk. Neither are very optimistic about how things are anymore, and then the woman disappears, and Storm shows up, and as they're talking, the two of them are suddenly attacked by everyone else in the coffee shop, all exhibiting superpowers. And we get part 3, which is an Armor and Enola story. Armor and Enola are in the sewers tracking down Dark Beast, or tracking down something when they're attacked by Dark Beast. Pardon me. Now, Dark Beast, of course, makes some interesting points, saying that they should not be here. They should be running while there's still time. And he asks if they've come to kill Dark Beast. No, but he manages to escape, and then when the two are called to the surface, and apparently the coffee shop situation with Jean and Storm has escalated quite a bit, and as they're facing regular people, that are obviously possessed. They're trying to, they don't want to injure them. When all said and done, Jean finds the woman that she had spoken with briefly, and in the epilogue, turns out that Bishop's wrist doohickey's no longer working. He tells Storm that he's investigating something, and he'll if he finds anything out about what he's looking into, the X-Men will be the first to know. Jean is, of course, rather saddened by her newfound friend's death. And a shadowy figure says that this is only the beginning before walking away. So, anyways, the writer on the backup stories, the writers were Matthew Rosenberg on the Bishop story, Kelly Thompson on the Jean Grey story, Ed Brisson on the Armor and Enola story, and Kelly Thompson on the epilogue. All in all, not a bad start for new Uncanny X-Men. Definitely curious as to what this is going to be building towards, so we'll definitely have to keep an eye. Just out wants to see. And we got we'll have 10 straight weeks of Uncanny X-Men, so though we might take the week of Christmas off for various reasons, not the least of which being it's going to be a pain in the ass for me to get to my comics. So, anyways, moving on to Domino #8. Where we left off, Domino and her posse have been hired by a Wakandan to retrieve a box, not to look inside. They retrieved the box, then they looked inside, and found Morbius, the living vampire. Unbeknownst to them, they were being tracked by a vampire hunter, who is also keeping in touch with other vampire hunters. Alright, so they're in Bergen, Norway. And the posse are debating once again reopening the box. The first time wasn't their fault, it just kind of happened. This would be very much their fault. And they decided, of course, to open the box. And first Morbius just kind of falls out, then comes to. By the way, I love this title page. Seriously. Doing it up like an old movie poster. Oh, so good. Anyway, yeah, we also learned that Outlaw. Oh, okay. When I say we learn, I'm mainly talking about me. I had not read many comics with Outlaw. I know of the character, and that's about. Before this, I knew of the character, and that was, and kind of had I could recognize if I saw her in a splash, I'd say, "Oh, hey, there's Outlaw. Cool." I'm actually getting to know the character with these last 8 issues. Apparently, she is not too fond of spooky critters, such as vampires. And there's a brief scuffle, and Morbius explains what's going on, and also that his hunger's upon him, and he needs to feed. So, Domino offers herself up with kind of a, "Hey, I'm not gonna become a vampire or anything, right?" After all, she's pale enough. Anyway, so Morbius explains what's going on over various trains. Apparently, Morbius can't fly on planes. Basically, the disease that he had before he became the living vampire is being weaponized by vampires. And over the course of this, Domino narrates, and she says that her initial thought, initially she thought that Morbius was a monster. Then he was a good guy. Now he's a predator. Anyway, it turns out that they have to go after the king. There's apparently every vampire in the world, in this part of the world, is commanded to save a bit of each kill, which he eats for the blood. And he's underwater, so they go underwater and go after him. Also, Morbius has at least briefly inherits a little bit of Domino's luck power. But Morbius Domino and the posse manage to take on and defeat the king. By blowing him up. And then run into the vampire hunter who's been chasing them. Who Domino promptly takes out with a punch him in the face. So Maurice goes on about his life, and the posse sitting around, and their employer Shinqua calls them. Apparently, informs them, hey, good job, but there's more to the mission. They have to kidnap a guy named Longshot. Now that's actually kind of cool because I never really thought about it, but even though both Longshot and Domino are ex-affiliates, they had, to my knowledge, never worked before, and apparently they'd never met, so my only thing is that Domino should know exactly who he is. I mean, when you're an ex-affiliate, you kind of at least know who each other are, kind of. The idea being kind of, if you pass each, if the two of you happen to be in a bar, whether or not you've met before, you can look over, see, oh, hey, that's cool. Me and that guy are connected because we're both ex-affiliates. So when some anti-mutant jerk decides to start shit, well, you're not. Well, already they would not be alone, but yeah, there's a little bit more of a, hey, I got this guy's back. Anyways, moving on to Exiles number 10. Where we left off, the Exiles were on an Earth that resembled where the Arabian Nights had come to life, and they had met the Caliph of this world, Victor Von Doom. Anyway, Doom basically he's pissed that they're here, and he's no longer impressed with his wife, Nocturne. So he's in the morning, cutting off your head in front of everybody. They're, of course, they're just like, no. Bit of an attack, bit of a scuffle. They end up facing a room full of Doom bots, and Doom at the same time. Doom, it turns out, has the Eye of Solomon, which manages to knock out Valkyrie. While everything's going on, suddenly the carpet appears, and so while they might not be able, and so Iron Lad blows a hole in the wall so that Blink at least has an idea of where to teleport them, i.e., hey, look, you can teleport us out there, and so she does, and it seems that the carpet is now bigger, just so it can accommodate the entire team. When it flies to an oasis, where they run into the Black Cat analog from this world, as well as Doctor Strange analog, who they ran into in the last issue. But both are just like, hey, look, you're an enemy of Caliph Doom. That makes you an ally of ours, and of each of us. And hey, we're sorry about the shit we put you through earlier. So we get some backstory, of course. Caliph Doom did the whole taking over the world thing, and yeah. Meanwhile, Caliph has brought an offering, the Ring of Solomon, and he kills the dude that brings it to him. And then he finds the Oasis and attacks it alongside the demon within the ring, Mephisto, who is at his beck and call because the Jinn Mephisto. They duke it out some. Takes some doing, but they manage to blink, teleporting off Doom's hand with the ring on it, and basically screwing him over. Turns the tide of the battle. Mephisto's just going, all right, hey, I'm free, cool, and takes Doom to hell. In the end, Doom basically tells Nocturne, "Hey, look, take over as the queen." You know, there are those who the only reason they have not come to greater power is because of me. So you need to hold them at bay. And so Nocturne decides she's going to stay there on that Earth, and she's going to rule it. And I go, and so Blink says goodbye, and she actually gets to use a variation of the classic X-Men phrases. To me, my exiles, and they seemingly seem to go back to home. Well, Earth 616. And they are promptly attacked by another group of exiles. This one led by Khan, their former teammate, who they thought was dead. But it appears we've got a malformed Steve Rogers, a variation of Black Panther, a skeleton Thor, X-23, and another version of Kang. Interesting. And there's next issue's cover. Definitely looks like it'll be an interesting one, that's for sure. Alrighty, next up we've got Infinity Warps #1. Introducing us to more Infinity Warps from Infinity Wars and the Soul World. We start off with Observer X, who is a combination of the Watcher and Professor X. Kind of fitting that two dead characters were combined. And Observer X observes everything going on Earth, and every word that starts with an X has that X. It starts with an X sound. Starts with an X here. It's gratingly amusing. Anyways, so the first story we get is Moon Squirrel and Tippy Store, which is a combination of Squirrel Girl and Tippy Toe. Anyways, so her giant squirrel is she's a dinosaur-sized squirrel, which she can communicate with through a communication device. And we got Deadpool's Guide to Supervillains. And it looks like she'll be facing off against Dr. Demactus. Yes, a combination of Dr. Doom and Galactus. So they briefly a brief scuffle, but in the end, she's able to send Demactus packing. Very much, yeah, in a way that probably makes both halves of Moon Girl's soul happy, or God damn it, Moon Squirrel's soul happy. Turns out what she did was she took her translator, put it on Demactus's helmet, and fiddled around with how it would translate things. Whereas next month, we're totally getting Moon Squirrel Tippy Sword versus the Wrath of Ratmaster. We're totally not, actually. Next up, we've got Green Widow and her wingman, Cat's Eye. Anyways, so the Green Widow infiltrates Camelot Laboratories. Infiltrates Camelot Laboratories Industrial. It's apparently the first time that Green Widow and Cat's Eye have teamed up together. But of course, Widow manages to take down various security guards, and then she's attacked by Iron Titania. Also, she hulks out. Though, I'm actually going to look at Cat's Eye. It's a combination of Hellcat and Hawkeye. But it's a fun little, fun little spy romp. Next up, we've got the Terrific 2, Ben and Reed Storm. Bombarded with cosmic radiation, Ben became Hot Rocks, the burning behemoth of searing stone, and Reed became Mr. Invisible, crystal clear and full of cheer. But a massive hole is open in the ground, which they're investigating, and they come upon a giant robot. A bunch of giant robots. Led by none other than Master Mole. Which he identifies them quickly as being his Sensonoid slaves. Hot Rocks manages to put the hurting on some of those Sensonoid slaves. Meanwhile, Mr. Invisible manages to get in and muck around with it and figure out how to stop them. And so they manage to take the control rod from Master Mole, and the Sentinels now bow to the Terrific 2. And once again, we have the Observer X. Who exuberantly claims as he bids the readers a fond farewell, Excelsior. Of course it does. Anyway, next we have our holdover from last week. Infinity Wars number 5. The next to last issue of the series. So, at the core of creation, Gamora can't get through. She's stuck. Uh, in Soul World, the the combined might of the soul of the combined heroes and some of the Infinity Warps and the separated Infinity Warps are going up against Devondra, but they're not having the best time of it. Anyway, so Loki and his team split off. They find a house. Emma grabs Miss Marvel, and the two go up into it's more of a treehouse than anything. Where they find young Gamora, who has the Infinity Stones. Loki explains that when Requiem folded the entire universe onto itself, it accidentally created new life forms, and when she copied everything into the Soul Gem, including the stones themselves. So, Kid Gamora agrees to let our heroes borrow the stones. So, they go back to the real world, and turns out that Phyla-Vell and Moondragon are from one of the alternate realities have shown up and attacked attacked Gamora. Of course, Gamora is basically a goddess, and so can't at this point, and so can't be killed. Not even by combined might of Moondragon and Phyla-Vell. But utilizing their own Infinity Stones, they get a bit of a hand up on her. And Kang surrounds her with versions of himself, and they manage to take out Gamora. And Loki decides to high five Miss Marvel, and yeah, Loki steals the stones for himself. Which makes the Hulk kind of pissed, because, well, Hulk. So anyways, he goes into the creation core, he goes below the surface. What he finds, I'm guessing, yeah. Something tells you this is set in, somehow relates to our current Avengers run. Anyways, the Soul World Avengers take on, continue the fight in the Soul World. And then Arthur and Yvette Douglas are driving along, and Arthur just feels like something's wrong. He ends up slamming into a tree. But he knows there's something he's supposed to be doing, and then the tree that he crashed into says, "We are Pete." Then it turns into Groot. And he has to go fix things. And him and Groot fly away together. So, and he's got his sax in hand as well, which is great. So, again there. Moving on to Avengers number 10, or 700, issued, or number 700, however you want to look at it. I'm kind of sort of looking at it as being number 700. So, we left off, the Avengers had been going head to head with Namor, who was being a bit of a jerk. Anyways, the issue starts off in Siberia, at the last gulag. A Russian soldier arrives. He has a pardon signed by the Minister of Justice and the President for whoever is being held in the gulag. Apparently, this prisoner murdered 4 commanding officers and ate their remains. Though the prisoner calls that lies. It's 5 officers. He never ate the bastards. He just tore them apart with his mouth. He says a pardon isn't good enough. He wants all these ridiculous charges completely expunged from his record. Turns out that the soldier in question is Major Mikhail Ursus, aka Ursa Major of the Winter Guard. So anyways, then we cut to Darkstar and Vanguard of the Winter Guard meeting with Dmitry Bukharin, also known as the Crimson Dynamo, and alongside a guest from the Red Room, Red Widow. So, turns out that Bukharin's being offered a cabinet position as Minister of Superhuman Defense, and he'll still be a member of the actual Soviet Super Soldiers, or the Winter Guard, if he agrees. But he's willing to do so as, and he will do so as Crimson Guardian, or the Crimson Dynamo. We then cut to South Pacific. The international undersea biosphere known as Hydropolis, which is normally underwater, now being attacked by the Namor and the Defenders of the Deep, Atlantean warrior Andromeda, the terrorist jellyfish Manowar, Echidna, the mother of monsters, the Piranhas, Bloodtide, Orca, Tiger Shark, and King Crab. While that's going on, an alert goes off at Avengers Mountain. Gorilla Man goes, they're totally not Butler, goes to answer it. While that's going on, while that happens, the team is going through downtime. Ghost Rider and Tony Stark are racing. Captain Marvel and Thor are getting rid of debris in the ocean. T'Challa and Jen Walters is helping Jen Walters stay calm, retain her calm. And Captain America is having a chat with General Thunderbolt Ross, who's not too happy about the fact that the chair of the Avengers is a foreign leader. Anyways, as Cap leaves the Lincoln Monument where he met with Ross. Ross tells someone to bring in the agent. Meanwhile, of course, Cap is sent after. Cap is the one of Namor's attack, as is everyone else. They all show up at Hydropolis, and the fight begins. Of course, there's some arguing, a lot of arguing, and the fight's not entirely going the way of the Avengers, but it's not going entirely against them either. So then of course, the Winter Guard show up. And at first things start to work out pretty well. They're working together. Like, hey, you know what? We got the same goal. Let's work together. But then there's the fact that there are two gods on the Winter Guard. And they begin arguing amongst each other. Which leads to basically both teams fighting each other. Anyways, Namor kills his piranhas, and then it's like, okay, come on, guys, rest of the team, let's get out of here. The Avengers get Hydropolis someplace safe, and we cut back to General Ross, who's meeting with none other than Agent Phil Coulson, who is somehow not dead after being killed by Deadpool during Secret Empire. Oh, and he's brought a team that'll be under the thumb of the U.S. government, the Squadron Supreme of America. We'll see how that works out. We'll see. Later on, once things have cooled down for the day, Robbie's brother Gabe is checking out his new repulsor lift wheelchair from courtesy of Tony Stark. When Robbie goes outside and is promptly attacked by Odin for killing Starbrand. Robbie explains his side of things, and then Odin realizes that okay, you're not entire. Okay, so you didn't kill him. It's more my fault than anyone's. They talk a bit. They hang out. Meanwhile, far reaches of space, Loki's on trial by the Celestials. And of course he retains that he is actually a hero here, bringing the Avengers back together and whatnot. And then of all people, Wolverine shows up. He's got a deal with one of them. And then he gets Phoenix possessed, and we get a kind of a look at things to come. And interesting, very interesting. Then Janet Van Dyne has gone to Romania on the orders of the Wakanda government, seeking out another possible Avenger. She finds him, and it's Blade, who basically says, "Yeah, I'm in." That's where the issue ends. So, Blade's going to be an Avenger, too. Well, again, sort of. This will be the first time Blade's an Avenger as Blade. Whereas the last time he was yet another version of Ronan. Moving on to Captain America, number 5. Where we left off, Cap was not doing too well in his fight against Taskmaster, who had poisoned him. We start off then. at the grave of Alexander Lukin, with Alexa Lukin showing Celine the dossier of her power, the power of elite, or power elite. Celine says, you know, you guys bureaucrats, madmen, and dilettantes. One of them is General Ross. Anyways, Cap catches up to Taskmaster, takes a few more hits, but manages to turn the tables, takes him down, and then he goes after Celine and Alexa, who have Sharon in their custody. Cap rescues Sharon. Has a brief fight with Celine, though he does admit that Celine is a heavy hitter who's taken down whole teams of X-Men. And that's not lying. That's not exaggerating. She has. Anyway, they get out. Sharon is not in the best state, but she's alive. After getting back home, Steve talks to Bucky briefly. Things aren't looking too great for Steve. Public opinion is against him, as he worked with Black Panther and Okoye on American soil, which kind of brings him the idea: how is he? He's supposed to be American. Why is he, fighting against our people? Anyways, so we're getting some narration going along as Alexa and Celine appear in a lab, and a man comes out of a vat of fluid in there, turning out to be Alexander Lukin. Also, it turns out that Ross has no record of sending Sharon Carter to Alberia, and Sharon has little to no memory of her trip. Bucky mentions that everything that's going on feels like it's bigger than just Ross. And when we see Lucan look in a mirror for the first time after he's brought back, well, looking back at him is an all too familiar face. So I mean, I gotta say, yeah, all right, the Red Skull's back too. So yeah, this is actually the second Captain America relaunch where within the first little while, the Red Skull has come back from the dead. Anywho, that is it for this week's Hall of Comics. We'll probably have a pretty easily sized haul, and probably be doing it a bit earlier next week to accommodate getting my Thanksgiving plans. Anywho, as always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon in the description box down below. Hit the notification bell to be notified when I put out new content. And as always, this is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying,
Live long and rock hard.